Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide, and in today's video we are checking the update for the Supernote platform. This in my hand is the Supernote A6X2 and the update in question is 3.17, but it's also available on the A5X and the A6X as the version, I believe, 2.15 or 2.14 or something like that. So even though the nomenclature of the versions is different between the older generation and newer generation devices, which is something that they should really kind of connect up to so it's a bit less confusing, it is for all intents and purposes the same type of update because it brings the same type of functionalities to both platforms. So let's dig in. Alright, so let's first cover what has been added to the platform. So we have a brand new app which is added, the To-Do app, which supports converting handwritten notes selected by the lasso tool in the Notes app into to-do tasks, supports syncing to-do data to the desktop app and mobile app. You do that by enabling to-do syncing in the settings My Account Data Sync. Then supports choosing whether to sync to-do data, which you can configure by going into My Account Data Sync. Currently, that's the only option that you have there. And we have a couple of settings additions. So they have added virtual Spanish, Portuguese, and Czech keyboard layouts. They have added the support of backing up digests, and this is really cool because now you can back up all of your digests in all documents and everything, all of that kind of data by simply going to Settings, System, Backup and Restore, and you back it up, it exports it locally onto the export folder, and then you can move that off the device somewhere safe where you want to, and you can also restore by choosing the file and then restoring back into the documents that it can actually match on the same the device. And we also have added two new built-in screensavers. So this is the first stuff that I'm going to be going through, and then we're going to revisit and check these things. So let's check that out. So if you go into System, you will find the Backup and Restore option here. And when you go to the Backup and Restore, you have the backup functionality where you can select, hey, at the moment we can only select Digest, and that will then be exported into the backup folder. So you can just go backup and it just tells you, okay, this is where it's backed up with the time and the date formatting. And if you want to restore, you automatically it goes and looks in the export folder, and you can just choose one of these and then you can bring it back. Obviously the state of the device needs to match. You need to have same documents in the same place with the same name for the restored data to actually can be paired against the documents there, but it's a really nice and easy way to just in one go just back up your whole device and take it off the device so that it's nice and secure. Then again, in Settings and My Account, you have the data sync option, and I've already turned it on. By default it's turned off, so that's something that you need to know. So this indicates that they may have more stuff, more options to allow people to actually use, but for now we only have the to-do options. That is one huge looking toggle thing, but I guess it's like nice and easy to press, but it does look weird and out of place. Now on to the to-do tasks. Now before I go all that, I'm gonna just go to the To-Do app here, and the To-Do app looks like this. You have your inbox, you have your planned, all, and completed, and in here you can enter a task or you can add a new task, and you can add new lists as well, which is actually pretty cool. So if I go here, then I can say, hey, okay, so for today I want to enter a task, test the new update, then it goes there, then just add it, and there we go, we have the new test update. And if I click it, then it's complete, and if I go into completed, it's completed. You can long press on it to move around, delete, but what you can also do is if I cancel this and you just tap on it, then you have options of rearranging them, moving them to different times, etc., and of course deleting them and editing them. So now let's go back to the update 3.17 notebook that I prepared when I was testing all of this. And my initial expectation, how I expected this to behave is basically if I have to do tasks, right? I write a list of tasks, and then I can choose the lasso tool to select all of this, and it selects it. And then in the calendar or the organizer set, you can choose, hey, we choose this as an event to add, or this is the task list, to-do list. And if I tap here, what I hoped would happen was that the system was intelligent enough to actually understand that the new line or a new dash or something is going to convert it into each new line, or each dash is going to be a new task. But it doesn't work like that. So obviously the system is allowing the user to add one task at a time, which is a huge limitation. It makes sense while you're in a to-do app itself to do it that way. But if we're actually going from one app to another, you really want to avoid the user experience and the workflow of doing A, B, back, A, B, back, A, B, back. Instead of being able to do A once, one big chunk, and transfer it instantly into a big chunk. That is not something that we have at the moment. Instead, the way it works is that I have to select each one individually and then do all of this one by one, right? Because it's one task at a time. So check all 3.17 features, and then I'm gonna add a date, confirm, add. Added it to the to-do list, you wait, and the macro will return you eventually back, really slow. Then we're gonna do again here. And now I'm starting to run into some issues as well with the lasso tool and the text, because I've already prepared my to-do list, right? And I have to navigate between, am I gonna select the correct one or not? And now, yeah, the recognition is okay. We just have one wrong letter, so that should be update, okay. But again, I need to select the date, and there's no recent date that I used. There's no shortcut for the recent settings that I used or anything. Any kind of creature comforts, they are not there. So this is, I would classify this as MVP. This is one of those functionalities that simply is, yes, it works, it functions, but it is, in my view, not complete. This is not something that I would characterize as a complete feature set for all these reasons that I'm talking about while I'm showing all of this. So I can just set it to here. And here's the thing, I selected something, but I'm not sure what the selection was, if the selection missed a stroke or not, and then the handwriting recognition will not know what it needs to do. So it's like, do some more tests. Okay, so that's not good. So let's testing of the old bug. And by, not by, bug. Thank you. Then we add, etc., etc. So that is the workflow that you have. And if I actually now go to my to-do list, all of these have been added, right? So these are the to-do lists, added tasks, but I don't know of a situation where I would intentionally choose to repeat these steps instead of simply going here and saying, this is my task 1, adding it. So I'm saying, okay, so I'm gonna use this date, I'm gonna add it. Again, it's not remembering things. Again, this is my task 2, and then add. I mean, this is obviously how it was supposed to work, and then the addition of, hey, we can actually maybe transfer this from the selection tool because we can copy paste and put it there. Good idea, bad, incomplete and bad execution. So the way that this can be kind of improved, I'm going to talk about that in the end, but there's like 2 distinct ways that I think that this specific thing can be improved. Now, the cool thing about this is that the To-Do app is indeed integrated well with the desktop app, and once you enable that data sync, of course. So that is a pretty cool thing to see, that forward and backwards it works really well, and it was very, very consistent. So whether I was adding tasks on the notebook itself, or I was editing and modifying or changing or adding tasks in the desktop, it all reflected between the different platforms pretty much within about 30 or so seconds. I think everything was always kind of synced up. So that actually works really, really well. I just wish that the functionality, the integration of the to-do app list with the notebook was done in a better way, because once this is recognized as a string, you can do whatever you want, and it's really easy. And maybe like, okay, so split per task after each dash and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's how that functions. The privacy policy has been updated to the last version, but this is calendar and note. After lassoing handwriting and recognition into event in the note app, you will stay within the note app instead of being redirected in the calendar app. I really like that. It sounds dumb, but it is a really cool thing, especially because, let me just show you, I have my phone here and I'm just gonna go, this is my new event, right? I'll go to the lasso tool, select, convert the selection to a new event. It recognizes it, yes, and then I say okay. And then it's added to calendar, returns you back, the macro returns you back to the notebook, which is the new functionality, which is cool. And now in this case, when I actually accessed my calendar, then the notification came through. Okay, this is my event, and now it shows in Google Calendar automatically as my event, which is a nice thing to see, that you're going from this world into that world pretty seamlessly. Then we have optimizations, and the first one is really important for me, and that is actually supports the lasso tool to delete handwritten notes. That means that you can just now select something and use the trash can to simply delete your selection. Bizarrely, this is not something that we've had before, and was a point of frustration for me, especially with the bug that kept lingering on with the the two-finger gesture on the screen basically being mistaken for the palm itself, and that lingered for the past 2 updates. We'll address that here. It seems to have been fixed, but either way, when that was happening, I wanted to have just one thing so that I can maybe just use this to select, use as a selection shortcut, and then basically just work in a completely hidden clear type of a workflow. But yeah, that wasn't really working for me. So now finally we have that, and I no longer have the need between 2 tools. Lasso tool is actually everything that I need, which is pretty cool. Small, well overdue, but it's a good thing to finally see it. Then we have added the option to adjust values to resolve the non-contact issue of non-contact writing. This deserves a check. So if you go into display input, stylus, and then you go to calibration, now instead of just the start calibration thing, we have the non-contact writing. And the interesting thing here is that they've provided like a huge set of instructions here. So 3 behaviors of non-contact writing, and those would be like cases 1, 2, and 3. So case 1 is that stroke appears before the stylus touches the screen, right? So above 7 millimeters. If you would like to understand how that works and why that works, well, it has to do with this little coil here and some other magic of electromagnetism. We can check my video on how Wacom EMR pens work if you're interested for more details. So, and here's an illustration that will show point A and point B and how this case will manifest itself. So if your pen is about 7 millimeters above the screen but not touching the screen, and you see the stroke appear, then you have case 1. If you have case 2, it happens that if you connect the dots A and B, then you lift your pen from the screen and you move it, but not above 7 millimeters. So you just lift it a little bit above and you start moving, and then a stroke appears, then you have case 2. If you write and connect dots A and B and you lift again within the 7 millimeter height range and the stroke continues to write, then you have case 3. So it's very, very well explained here, especially with the A-B illustrations and everything. This is a proper way to do this. However, it's still fairly, I believe, demanding of a certain type of customer. But I'm very much appreciative of this option actually being there. And then they have, for behavior 1 and 2, add 10 each time and test your stylus. So that means that if you have a situation 1, which is your strokes start appearing before your stylus contacts the screen, then you have case 1. If you have a context of connecting A and B and then lifting and moving and still stroke appears after a while, then you adjust this slider. And if you do have the option of writing this and then simply lifting and the stroke continues continually to write, then you have the option 3, and then you can adjust these values to actually test until the behavior is gone. I'm not 100% sure that this will appeal to every type of customer there is, but I'm very much appreciative that the approach is here, and it's for me at least, for anyone with any kind of technical inclination, I think that they will appreciate this type of approach. For people without technical inclination, for people who expect the device just to work and they are not interested in any kind of problem solving and work on their own, they will not appreciate this kind of thing, as this will be overly complicated. Then we have the added option to choose recognition wait time after lifting the pen on the handwriting keyboard. Really cool, because sometimes I feel pressured that it's super quick and I like to kind of maybe make a break or something. So you can increase that wait, you can decrease that wait, and it's pretty cool to have that option to customize it. You configure it by going to settings, display input, keyboard, handwriting. Then we finally have 24-hour option as the auto power off. Cool. And some mailing optimizations that include support directly opening attachments compatible with the device and navigating through web links in the email body. Then we have fixes, and the fixes are that in the notes and documents, the issue where erasing a single stroke extending beyond the edge of the screen would mistakenly erase all of the similar strokes on the same side of the screen. And also the issue of the two-finger gesture could be triggered continuously by accident to activate the eraser or lasso during writing. This is the bugger that was plaguing the platform since December, late December. So it took half a year to actually get to the point where they are saying that it's fixed. Previously they mentioned that it was improved, but not fixed. This time they're actually saying fixed. And to their credit, so far I haven't experienced the issue, thankfully, again. And it was something that was pissing me off quite a bit, and I experienced it multiple times a day, which to the point where it was really unpleasant that it's constantly there. I hope that they managed to actually fix it. So far it looks like it's gone. I hope that's how it remains. Then we have in the synchronization, fix the issue where syncing with some OneDrive accounts didn't work or couldn't work. Document fixes, issue where documents would occasionally crash. Issue where adding bookmarks to some books would fail, and where vector exported strokes would display incorrectly when the original document contained gray handwritten strokes. Oh, that's very specific and strange. And then system fix, fix the issue where accessing files on a device via USB connection to a computer was still possible after setting a screen lock password. Serious issue there on the security aspect, but that's a good thing that that's fixed. And just for completeness sakes, there's the sidebar fix that I mentioned before on the X2 platform, and also in the optimizations there's an improved responsiveness of the sidebars on the X2 version of this update. Well, okay, so that is the update for the Supernote platform. I know that a lot of accent is on the To-Do app and the To-Do functionality, simply because there's a lot of things to do. No pun intended. A lot of things to do about presenting the To-Do app. Oh God, let's keep digging this one. But for me, the focus is actually on a couple of other things that really make the daily use of this device a bit better. Chief amongst which should be, and if it remains to be like that, is if they have fixed the terrible bug that was introduced 3 versions ago, I believe, about the accidental touches of the two-finger gesture thing while your palm was on the screen. What I've seen so far, since I've updated and actually wrote and tested the Supernote A6X2, I haven't experienced it yet. And I have been experiencing it on a daily basis. So I am really, really hopeful that this is properly fixed. This was long overdue, in my opinion, because it was a problem for general use. The second thing that I'm actually really happy about in this update is that they finally added the option of deleting the selection with the lasso tool, which seems like such a no-brainer, but it just wasn't there. And why do I like it? Well, I like it because that allows me to completely hide the pen, all of these things, use the Heart of Metal pen that doesn't have a button, and just use the two-finger gesture on the sidebar here for the selection tool, and have no other shortcuts, because the two-finger screen thing works like 60-ish, 70% of the time, which is not good enough for me to actually use it, because 30% of failure is still way too much for daily use to actually be okay with it. But this works 100% of the time, all the time. And the marquee thing makes it possible for me to just have the sidebar work as a marquee thing, and that's everything. That's deleting, that is inserting links, inserting to-do tasks, or yeah, like all of this kind of stuff. Everything is in that selection tool. So that's what I'm personally most excited about. As far as the to-do goes, it's interesting, but I don't see it fully working as I would expect it to do, because as you've seen, the very first thing I want to do is I want to write my to-do list and then import it in one go. And obviously this is not intended to be used like that. That means that the selecting of the lines post fact is a little bit tricky, because you can miss a word and then the recognition is kind of janked up, so it's not fully there. This, I think, can be easily remedied by either doing one of two things. One of them would definitely benefit the whole thing, which is maybe a highlighter selector, text selector tool, which would basically work like a highlighter in normal text, but it works like a highlighter selector tool for handwritten text. And yes, that would involve some really smart programming and implementation, but if it is possible to implement, that would work really good, because then you would just kind of hand select what you need, and then you can convert it easily. Because right now it's a little fiddly to select a single line of text from a full page if you want to add a to-do task after the fact. The second thing that I think would also be beneficial is if there was like a symbol that they could use that signalized to the system, hey, this is going to be a new line in a to-do list. And that again involves a bit of programming and a little bit of good system design. But if, for example, you wrote a list with bullet points or dashes, so when you make a selection and the selection understands when it's converting, hey, I have a dash and I have a dash and blah, 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 blah. It understands and it does a couple of things. Each new dash is a new task, and that it has the ability to add multiple tasks at the same time to kind of insert. I think that's where the limitation is right now, not in the selection tool actually not being capable of doing that, because I think it's quite easy. once it's converted it to a string, then you can do whatever you want, and that's really easy. But on the other end of the equation, the to-do app seems like it can only add one task at a time and not a list of tasks or a collection of tasks. That, I think, is like a twofold implementation thing, but one that would be worthy of examining and maybe entertaining, because if it was done properly, then that would make this tool more usable in real life, because right now it's a very tedious one, because if you have like 10 to-do tasks, why would I subject myself to writing, selecting, sending, going back, and doing this over and over and over again? It's so much faster to simply directly go to the to-do list and add a new task and write your task name in the virtual keyboard. I get the convenience of it, but I think it would be way more powerful as a functioning tool if it was implemented that it can do multiple tasks at the same time in one go. Then it would make a considerable difference. All right, so that's my take and my impression of the Supernote latest update on the Supernote, so 3.17 or 2.15 versions, depending on which devices you are using. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think, what your impression is of these new features and new functionalities that have been added, especially regarding the to-do list and functionality. For me, it's not there yet, but as I said, interesting direction. I'm interested to hear about you. It's like, interesting direction, not interesting at all, or what is your opinion about this kind of stuff? And also, it's like, what's your opinion and why? Because that helps us all understand the perspectives and just the where real-world users of these devices stand from, and most importantly, how they use them and what their expectations are from the platforms that they are using in their daily lives. I hope that you liked the video and that you found it entertaining, informative, or useful. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide, and also check out the mydeepguide.com/shop, where you can find MDO and MMP. Both are hyperlinked PDF documents. MDO is a My Daily Organizer that helps you plan out and organize all of your yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, personal or professional needs. And MMP is My Deep Guide Meeting Planner that helps you centralize, simplify, and organize all of your meeting planning needs. And you can find more information about both of these products in the hyperlinked playlists in the description below. And then you can decide, hey, this is product for me or not. Either way, purchasing of these products directly supports the independence of My Deep Guide. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.